Welcome to the video tutorial on assessment access links, sometimes also referred to as the guts of your assessment account. The reason being, it is on this page where you create the access points for your end users to complete the online assessments. Let's start with clicking on Assessment Access Links on the left-hand menu. This brings up a page that displays all of your existing assessment access links, with the most recent ones appearing on the top of the table. You can scroll down the page to see any of the links that you've created in the past. You'll notice similar filtering tools such as the page and the display, as seen on many of the other tables within our system. At the top of the table, you have the filter options of name and group association. In this case, I'm going to look for any links that have the word DISC in their name. I can do that by typing in DISC, clicking on the Contains, and it'll bring up a list of links that have the word DISC. In this case, there's a good 20+ records. Other features I have available are to delete links by clicking on the red X to the right of a link, or I can click the pencil icon next to a link to make edits. Let's start with adding a new assessment link. I would click on either the plus sign or where it says create a new assessment access link. This is going to bring us to a questionnaire and a list of options. The first option is to give it a name. So let's say in this case I'm doing a training in January. I want to call this January Training. You can name this link anything desired. It's only seen by you, the account admin, and not your end users. So that way when you go to your list of assessment access links, you can see the January Training is the name and you know exactly what that was for. The next option is I want to activate the Allow Observers feature. If I was going to choose an assessment that had a 360 capability, I would click this box to activate the 360. I then look over to the right and I see all of the available assessments to my account and how many credits I have next to each assessment. In this demo case, we have a lot of assessments loaded in. In your case, it might just be that you have access to a few, or the particular site you're using is only focused on a particular set of assessments. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm doing a DISC sales assessment and a DISC leadership. Now you could assign one assessment or multiple assessments to a particular link. My next option is the Allow to View Reports. This is big for a lot of coaches and trainers that don't want the reports being sent to the individuals. They want to gather them first, possibly print them, bind them, bring them to the training event, sit down with the individual end users and go over the report data. Or you could leave this checked and a copy of the report can be emailed or immediately downloaded by the end user. The next option is assigned to a group. If I had a group that this link was associated with, I could choose from the drop-down menu that particular group. So I will say this is part of Demo Company. The next option is selecting a language. This is the screen language that would appear to the end user. If there is a language available in your system, you could choose to change it from the default of English to another language such as Spanish or Chinese in this case. The next option is the confirmation email. This email is sent to every end user that registers in our system. Its general purpose is to provide access back to the system in case they need to finish an assessment that they started, or possibly in the case of a 360 they come back to invite more observers or view the status of observer assessments. You click the blue button for the Edit Confirm Email and it brings up an email editor. You can choose to say anything you'd like in this email. It comes in a default format with the basics of Dear so-and-so, whomever it is that's registering, the name of your account, thanks you for taking our assessment. Please click on the link provided below to gain access back to your account. This will merge in an actual URL that will give this person access back to their account. You can change anything. You can add additional text. You could talk about the event. You could ask them to bring the reports on Friday themselves. You could mention other products or services. Anything you desire can go in here. The main point is that this will be sent upon completion of an assessment in our system. So you would make your changes to that email, click update, and then come back to this list of questions. The next option is the Send Reports To field. You can choose to have a copy of the reports sent to a particular email address or multiple email addresses separated by a semicolon. Whatever email address you put in here would receive a copy of every individual end user's report that comes through this particular link. So in this case, we'll just say info@companyabc.com. The person who gets the email, info@companyabc.com, will receive a copy of the report. The Report is Attached option is another email similar to the confirmation email that you can edit. The content is very simple and it is only associated with the emails that send the PDF reports. So in this particular case, it just says report is attached as the subject and so-and-so's report is attached. This would merge in Bob Jones's report is attached. You can also make edits to that email. However, most people leave it because it's a pretty standard email. The final two options include email a copy of the report to the end user, yes or no. So do I want the individuals to also get a copy of the PDF? Yes or no. If yes, I check it. If no, I leave it unchecked. My final option is an expiration date. This is not required, however you could put in an expiration date. So maybe I'll say January 30th, 2014, this link will expire. So once I've answered all the questions and I've gone through my initial setup, I can double check everything and then hit insert at the bottom of the form. The page then refreshes and you see the link that you just created at the top of the table. In this case, here it is, my January training link. My next step is to now send this off to my end users. I would do that by copying the link and pasting it most likely in an email. I briefly covered editing at the beginning of this tutorial, but let me show you what it actually looks like by clicking on the pencil icon. So I'm going to edit my January training. You're going to notice it looks very similar to the initial ad screens. However, it has all of my data already filled in. If I wanted to make a change to something such as the expiration date, I could come in here and change this to, let's say, possibly February 12th instead of January 30th, and then hit update. Any of the settings that you created in the initial setup can be edited via the pencil icons to the left. The main question that comes up with assessment access links is how do you get that to your end users? So once again, once the link is created, you'll copy it, paste it into an email, and send that email off to the appropriate end users. Once they complete the assessments, they will show up in the page called End Users, which is located directly above the assessment access links on the left-hand menu. We also have a video tutorial for that page as well. This concludes the tutorial on assessment access links.